Welcome back to Day 1 Voiceover, and welcome back to part 2 of my home studio makeover. As you probably saw in the little sneak preview at the beginning of the video, that this is going to be focused around the hardware that I use, the microphone. Made some upgrades there because it was time. It was time. But before I jump into that, I wanted to revisit something from part 1. The hexagon sound tiles that I put on the walls are done. They look cool. They look fantastic. I'll show you here in just a minute what the final result looks like. But there is a bit of an update. In the past video, I showed you that I mounted them using painter's tape because I just wanted to minimize the amount of long-term damage that the adhesive might have. Well, all the tiles started falling off the walls, so don't take that advice. But I started using this instead, which is a Scott's Ideal for Paint double-sided adhesive. And so far so good. Every tile that I've used this with has not fallen, and I'm just waiting for the other ones that were put up with painter's tape to fall off so that I can reattach them with some proper double-sided adhesive. So with that out of the way, I wanted to jump into my equipment upgrade. As you know, if you've been following my channel, I've made it as far as I can with this Blue Yeti, an old USB pre-Logitech, if that means anything, Blue Yeti microphone. And it served me well. I mentioned, I believe in the very first video, that I was going to try and go as far as I can with it. And you know what? It served me well. I landed a couple of paid jobs. I officially, technically became a paid voice actor using that microphone. So I showed that it's possible. If you're someone out there that only has that option or only has that budget, then great, give it a shot. At the very least, just to get some practice under your belt. But it is something you eventually have to outgrow. And this early on, only having a handful of paid jobs under my belt, I felt like I outgrew it. Amazon Prime days came around recently, and it got me thinking about getting some new gear at a better price. Just take advantage of some sales. They didn't really have what I wanted, and I ended up calling Sweetwater, which was my first experience with them, and oh man, were they fantastic. Thank you very much to Riley, who I spoke with over there, and he recommended the gear that I'm going to show you here. It's a bit of a bittersweet thing because I really wanted to see how far I can go with the Blue Yeti, but it had its limitations that even me as a beginner was starting to notice. It reproduces your voice very well, it records your voice pretty nicely, but there is kind of a noise factor that you have to deal with and you have to worry about in your editing. So it was just time. It was time. And so whatever little money I've made with the few jobs I've had, I invested into a microphone and an audio interface. And I went with the Rode NT1 Signature Series and the Scarlet Solo 2i2. Now I don't claim to be really well versed on how to set these all up and use them to their full capabilities. But that's part of what I'm going to show. I'm going to set them up. I'm going to open the boxes so you can see what they look like. A bit of a unboxing, a bit of a setup video that I'll end up doing here. And we'll see what the final result looks like in the end. So let me show you what the unboxing looks like. Okay, so that was a quick unboxing. Now I'm going to head into the closet, walk-in studios, and start to set it all up and show you what the final result looks like. Let's take a look. All right, so it's done. It's set up. This is what it looks like in all of its glory. This is what my home studio, my closet, looked like the way I was recording it with the USB Blue Yeti. You can see how cramped the space it was. And this is what I intend to work with now. This is all going to be trial and error. I don't know if facing the other side of my closet is going to sound any better or worse. I'm going to save that for the next video. I'm going to do some recording samples. I'm even going to compare the USB Blue Yeti to the Rode NT1. Not that it needs it. Everyone knows the NT1 is kind of an industry standard microphone. But for anyone that might be out there in a position where you're comparing the two, I just want to put that out there. But I'm going to do a recording comparison to see which one sounds better, whether it's facing my clothes the way I used to or turning the other way in my closet and speaking into the acoustic tiles. So that's it for my home studio makeover. It wasn't anything spectacular, wasn't anything over the top, but I'm happy with it. I feel like I'm moving in the right direction, and hopefully the recordings will start to reflect that as well. I'm sure it will. This microphone has some of the most incredible reputation in the business, despite the fact that it's entry-level equipment. And I know that the NT1 is an entry-level microphone. I know that the Scarlet Solo is an entry-level audio interface. And I am recording mostly into an iPad and transferring things over to a MacBook, so it's still not a top quality setup, but it is a setup that should keep me going for some time. I have some additional training that I hope to be starting soon. And as I learn some steps along the way, some new techniques and new ideas, hopefully I'll get a chance to share that with you guys. But in the meantime, I'm just really excited about the steps I'm taking. These are the small steps that you have to take. These are the small steps that everyone that's in the business has to take and took at some point, right? As big as they might be in their careers, as established as they might be, they were probably recording in a very similar situation to what I'm recording right now. So that's really what I'm looking forward to see how this brings me forward into the next step. But I wanted to show you one other little upgrade that I made. Not that it's voiceover related or anything, it's more of a YouTube channel related, but I upgraded my lights. Now I feel like a proper YouTuber. Definitely not necessary, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to use it for every one of my videos, but it adds a little something from time to time. So another little thing to be excited about. Celebrate the little wins. In any case, thanks again, as always, for watching to the end. Like and subscribe, as usual. Do all the fun YouTube stuff. And if you have any comments, as always, about my setup, about what recommendations you might have about what direction I'm recording in my space, how I should set up the microphone, please feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear it. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.